The Briggs Museum of American Art is hosting an exhibition of work by Clark Fox called Icon Chains. In this episode, the artist discusses two additional paintings about Native Americans.
All right. This painting is kind of in the form of a pictograph. There's four different sections basically, and it's entitled 1844, which was the year that the portrait up on the top was painted in 1844 by George Catlin, who actually painted, he thought that all of the Native Americans were going to be exterminated. In 1844, they thought they were all going to be exterminated. So he wanted to capture them. And a lot of people thought that Catlin was not really that great of an artist. What did they know? He actually took a whole group of paintings to London, and they were shown there. You can actually see them at the Renwick. They have a whole wall. They have big black frames on them with numbers. And he was married to a socialite in New York, but George died penniless artist. He actually painted in Washington up in the Castle Tower for a while. They had a number of artists that got to paint up there. And I think he really, he tried to catch the soul of the Native Americans, although he was painting pretty fast. They were painted from life, and they had to sit still while he painted. And of course, you could get very restless pretty fast. In this one, as I said, 1844, Catlin thought they were going to be exterminated, so he was out there running around as wild. How he did it with, no modern medicine or anything like that. He actually passed away, and he's buried in Brooklyn in Green Hill Cemetery over in Brooklyn, and they didn't even have money for a stone. They had to borrow money to bury him. His family was not too keen on him, and just about a year and a half ago, they put up a monument to him. They raised some money, and there's actually a cool monument in the graveyard. And if you wanted to try to guess the name of this chief, take a look at over to the left of him is a white cloud. Yes, Chief White Cloud. Down in the bottom, another, that's off of a painting off of a buffalo skin, or bison skin, the correct name of the animal. That's a warrior, and you can see he's got a shield. He's got eagle feathers. He's pretty high up on the tribe. All those feathers on there are. He was a pretty high up person, and sometimes they like to put red on there and use red pigment, and sometimes they would go into battle basically nude, with just all painted up. But there's another example of a gringo version of Native American versus the real Native American on the bottom. And then on the background of the Mr. Peanut is actually I really like the abstract expressionist Clifford Still. And it's not really like a total Clifford Still, but in a way, my Mr. Peanut paintings, the idea was that modern art's been co-opted by Wall Street type people with a lot of money. And so my Mr. Peanut paintings are usually, it'll be a abstract painting in the background, and Mr. Peanut in the foreground, and then the titles are the names of rich collectors. So it's portraits of rich collectors. And I guess you could say that's George Catlin down in the bottom, because he was trying to make money on off his paintings, when he was criticized for that. It seems like anytime anyone does anything, it's controversial. You get this great idea, and you think it's great, but everybody else thinks you're a scoundrel trying to rip everybody off. And he actually took a number of Native Americans, went over. He had this sort of little sideshow thing going, and people would pay to get in to see the exhibition and get to hang out with real Native Americans.
The exhibition consists of artwork from 2000 to the present, influenced by pop art and social movements. Clark Fox is known throughout the contemporary art circles of New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles.
Okay, this one's a real interesting one. My opinion, George Washington was the greatest president, and I've done extensive study on him. He wasn't, he really didn't trust Native Americans, but he liked Native Americans better than he liked German settlers, which I thought was pretty hilarious, which that says quite a bit. He tried to get the confederations of nations to fight against the British in the war in 1776, but they were loyal. They thought they'd get a better deal with George III, and so they had hell to pay after the war. Down here on the bottom, you have the capitalists behind George Washington. You can look into how they got the money actually came from France, and it broke the treasury basically, and ended up why Louis XVI got his head chopped off. But down here is from a drawing that I did. It's a chief reaching for a bottle of alcohol where they were cutting the deal. They usually get the Native Americans drunk and then get them to sign off on anything. And here you have some abstraction. I started off as an abstract artist, so I anything that I do, I kind of see through an abstract art mind. I think that a lot of the art, if you're just doing pictures of people, it does seem to be kind of like illustration. So I really have a lot of admiration for abstraction, and I think it's a great way to deal with when you have subject matter that's when you say figurative. And this painting's kind of cool. It's from Ben Day Dots, sort of like Roy Lichtenstein. It's got about 4 different styles in it, and it's never get tired of looking at it. That's why I didn't want to make art that's like wallpaper. I think art should be living, and sort of like in my oranges paintings, you can look at it and it always changes, and you always see something different in what I do, because I spend a lot of time in contemplation when I do these works.